welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review of Overlord. This one came out in 2018, starring Jovan Adepo, Wyatt Russell, and Matilda Oliver, and was directed by Mr. Julius Avery. Now, just to hop right into this, Corona Mania Part 2, it's cause for celebration, kinda. But I hate that I even have to do a Corona Mania still. But no, man, I chose this one because it's such a unique zombie film. Blending, military and war with horror or zombies really is not a foreign concept. You look at the Call of Duty video games. There was one Nazi zombie movie that I can't really think of, but it's hokey and corny, and this is not. This is easily one of the best blendings of a military war movie with a horror movie and a zombie film, and it blends the two of those perfectly, which is one thing I really want to highlight in the spoiler-free section. I like war movies. I'm not a huge military movie guy. It's just never been my cup of tea. I don't hate them by any means. Saving Private Ryan, I could fucking go on all day. I like war movies. I think they have a very specific style to them, and I think they're cool, man. And one thing I know going into this that I was really curious, because I went and saw this in the theaters back in 2018, and I was really, really hoping in the back of my mind that they did not overplay the zombie portion of this story. And I was really hoping that they held true to still the fact that this is, war. And war in and of itself is a very, very, very scary thing. If you've ever talked to somebody who's fought in the military at any point in period in time, that in and of itself is a terrifying experience. You wake up every day, especially with like World War II, and this one is set on D-Day, which anyone who knows about D-Day already, I shouldn't even have to say anything about it. But that in and of itself, it's horrifying. You wake up every day, basically, and you're like, I could fucking die today. It's a terrifying thought to even think about. And that's not lost in this movie. I'm really happy to say, even on this is the second time I've seen this movie, and I'm very, very impressed that they were able to balance that so well. It's easily one of the biggest things I admire about this movie. Also, just, it's suspenseful as shit. In like the weirdest sections, there are pockets of this film that are just completely nail-biting and scary as shit. Not even just scary, just, how do I even describe this? Edge of your seat. We'll just say that. I was on the edge of my seat for multiple sequences of this movie, and I've seen the fucking thing. So to me, that is a big positive of any movie if you're able to hook me in and I've already seen it. So big props to Overlord for that. If I had to say any real flaws with this, just to wrap up the spoiler-free section, for me, I feel like the characters could have used a little work. I know I'm Mr. 80s slasher, so I am the last person to be talking about character development. But those films really don't need it. And I feel like with certain moments in this film, I feel like if they would have spent a little more time, especially with the three central protagonists, which to me are boys played by Jovan Adepo, Wyatt Russell's character Ford, and Chloe, who's played by Miss Matilda Oliver. I feel like if they would have spent a little more time, even if it's just like 30 seconds to a minute, just give them a little more depth. I feel like certain sequences in this movie could have been even more either nail-biting or sad or whatever you want to say. Sorry about that. I forgot to mute my computer. But there's not a lot of time spent on them. That's a that's a typical thing for war movies, is to really not spend a whole lot of time with characters, and you're just kind of plunged into the action, which is exactly what happens here in Overlord. But that mixed with the zombie element and the tension and the danger, I feel like that they could have spent a little more time on that. Other than that, though, man, I 100% recommend this, guys. I think this film is absolutely incredible. If you like war movies and you like horror, this is gonna be your fucking cup of tea, man. You're gonna really, really like this. And honestly, I'm surprised you haven't seen it already if you like both of those genres. But yeah, guys, that'll wrap it up for the spoiler-free section. I'm excited to dive into this one. So let's go ahead and spoil the shit out of this motherfucker. All right, spoiler time. Your ass has been warned. Now, just hop right into it here. Awesome opening. Like I said before, balancing that those two genres of war movie and horror seems like it could be a difficult thing, but I think it nails it, and it nails it right out of the gate, because this opening scene has nothing. We don't really get zombie shit for a while in this movie, and a lot of the horror elements come from war itself. Obviously, D-Day, which is what this is set on. You know, they're in France and all that, and they're in a plane, so they're not actually in the boats that are going onto the beach there, but they are up above in the sky in a plane, and you just see how fucking nervous everyone is. And you know, one guy at one point fucking pukes, and like it's it's scary shit. Like I say, when you're in that place, and can't even talk. When you're in that situation, you're literally thinking, I could die. Which sounds like a no shit statement, because it is. But once you're actually in that situation, it's becomes a whole different ball game. And I think they nailed it here. I think there are films that have done it better, but man, like it's fucking crazy. And then when the planes get attacked by the Nazis, and they're the back half of their fucking plane flies off. Not only that, but probably my favorite sequence in this scene is when those bullets come flying through the bottom of the plane, and people are getting mowed the fuck up, and then the fucking back half of the plane flies off, and oh god, it's fucking brutal. And then we get one of my favorite shots of the movie when our lead protagonist here, Boyce, he goes into the water, and he has to take off all his shit, and he comes up, and when he surfaces under a parachute, so you get that scene of him like underneath this fucking parachute. He's just awesome, man. He cuts it, and he goes out on land, and then we are literally dropped into this movie. It's fucking awesome, man. Overlord. He's always running around, you know, and he runs into everybody. Runs into Ford first, who they see their sergeant get slaughtered straight up. And like the way this character is introduced, he's introduced as a very major player. Like he's introduced as a central character to the film, and he gets mowed down in the first 15 minutes, if that. It's crazy shit, man. That's another thing I love about this film, is the subversion of expectations. I really, really think I would love the opportunity to be able to sit somebody down who knows nothing about this movie. They haven't seen trailers. They haven't seen shit. And I would love to sit them down and just have them watch this movie with no information at all, because they would literally just be thinking they're watching a war movie. And then once that zombie once that zombie plot kicks in, and it kicks in like fucking that. There's some hints here and there about it, scattered throughout the beginning of the film, but once it hits, it fucking hits. And it reminds me a lot of From Dusk Till Dawn. And for anyone who doesn't know about that movie, I will leave that where it lies. I imagine you've seen it if you're watching this channel, and if not, that's fine. Go out and watch From Dusk Till Dawn after you get done watching Overlord. Moving on. I always find a space to talk about another movie while I'm talking about a movie. It's kind of one of the things with this channel. But anyways, so their whole mission is to take out this apparent super weapon that these Nazis have put in a church, and they need to find out what it is, and they need to destroy it or take it or whatever. Little do they know that super weapon is actually a zombie serum, and they're experimenting on these villagers and dead soldiers and yada 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 to basically create a super soldier. And it's fucking wild, and obviously the serum is not perfected, so they end up making zombies. To talk about the zombies real quick, they're not traditional zombies. They're not like, ooh, and they're very monstrous beings, which, zombies are already monstrous in their own right, but that's another reason why I like this movie. It is not a traditional, let me run around and bite people. Excuse me. Let me run around and bite people kind of zombie. And I know there are purists out there that, these aren't technically zombies. Shut up, man. They're zombies, all right? They get resurrected from the dead. Come on. They're zombies. And they fucking eat people, too. But yeah, man. Good shit with the zombies there. Eventually, we get our main character, Boyce, infiltrating the church. He actually sees some pretty wild shit before that. We get to see these failed experiments people, They actually get set on fire with flamethrowers from the Nazis, and the doctors overseeing all of this. Pretty crazy shit, man. Pretty wild. I'd say another real flaw I have is I wish we would have gotten a little more characterization with the doctor. Really, Wafner, whatever, is our main villain, and I'm fine with that. I think he does a bang-up job, and I fucking hated him, as you're supposed to with villains. But I kind of wish we would have gotten a little more development with the doctor himself. I feel like they could have had some fun with that character. He's just kind of there. He's there. He's running experiments, and he's just whatever. I feel like it's a little missed opportunity there with him. But overall, I think he's a cool character for what we get of him. But yeah, man, he oversees this, and these fucking people get lit up. So then he goes into this church. And that's when the zombie shit really starts popping off. We get we get a lot of just a lot of crazy visuals, which I haven't thought a whole lot about this, but I wouldn't be surprised with myself if this ends up being my favorite sequence of the movie, just because it's so terrifying, and the music that comes along with it is very unique. It's almost like kind of backwards, operatic fucking, if you want the technical terms for music, talk to my fucking girlfriend, not me. I am not the music person. But it's like, it's almost sounds like it's in reverse at certain points in the song, or, music, whatever. And it's fucking cool, man. It accompanies some very, very crazy visuals. We get, most notably, well, first of all, the wall sequence when he goes in and sees this dude just kind of writhing around in pain through this little hole. And so he has to hide from the doctor and one of the soldiers, and he ends up becoming a zombie, and we hear him like writhing around, and he fucking dies. And then he goes back, and then he's a zombie, and we get that jump scare, which, I'm not a huge fan of jump scares, but when they're done right, I like them. So I liked this. I think it was cool. But most notably, the stick out of all this sequence, there are three real standouts as far as this whole sequence of events is concerned. Number one would be the French lady, who's literally just it looked like Sub-Zero did a fucking fatality on her ass. She's literally just a head and her spine, and she's hooked up to all of this shit, so she's still talking and she's speaking in French, and and she's all raspy. It's extremely fucking creepy, and she's just like looking at him like, help me, and he's like, you know. So he fucking runs off. The whole sequence with him saving his buddy, and he has that tube stuck to him. It had been a while since I'd seen this, so I wasn't sure, like, oh, are his guts just gonna fucking spill out? He's like, I have to pull it out. I'm like, fuck, no, don't. And it kind of makes you think that, but it's just this huge fucking needle that you just see come out of him. I'm like, oh, God, fuck. Ooh. I love this shit, man. Anyways, so saves his buddy. That whole sequence is great. And then when they're trying to, it's, like I said, it's the little things that they do so right with this as far as suspense. When those when the Nazis are fucking chasing them down, and they have to they're looking for them, and they have to break through this grate, and he's fucking stomping it with all his might, and you just hear them approaching closer. Great sound design there. It's such a, with any other director, with certain other directors, I feel like that could have been just a complete throwaway sequence and whatever, and it's done. But just the way that little sequence is done, I think it's fucking awesome. And it was nail-biting as fuck. It's one of the most suspenseful parts of the movie. But yeah, man. And so that whole sequence is great. By the way, I kind of glossed over it. I love where they're kind of hiding out in this French village with Chloe and her brother. Really cool shit. We get this the stuff with her aunt being, zombified, but she's just fucked up. She's not really violent or anything, but she's just kind of stuck in her room. And I feel like they could have done a little more with that. Maybe have her violently outburst or something and become a zombie, and there's some emotional weight with that when they have to kill her or something. I feel like that was another thing. It was just kind of spooky, and it was there, and that was that. There's shit like that too, where I feel like they could have taken some opportunities to do something different. But yeah, man, I just love that little hideout there in the attic and stuff, and that's when we get some of the best scenes in the movie. The torture scene with Waffner, where he's just fucking beating the shit out of this poor dude. Well, not poor dude, he's a fucking piece of shit. But just beating the ever-living fuck out of this guy. And he deserves it too. But then we get that little conflict where Ford's all about it, man. He's beating the shit out of this dude. And Boyce is like, oh, we can't become him, we can't be him. Which I've never really personally I'm on the side of Ford. Like, this guy's a piece of fucking shit. He's a fucking Nazi. Why would you not take the opportunity to beat the shit out of a Nazi? I don't get it personally. But, it's conflict. So it belongs in the movie. It belongs to that character. But I'm on Ford's side on that one. Beat the shit out of him. But anyways, Sipskis. But yeah, man. So they eventually, once Mr. Boyce gets back from the facility, he's rescued his friend, and they still have Waffner hidden up in the, trapped up in the attic. And fucking Chase, man, is so stupid. I get it, not all of these soldiers are going to be super intelligent, and that's not a knock on soldiers. Not even going to talk about that. That's not... It was a stupid move. I'll say that. It was a very, very, very stupid move to not make sure that motherfucker was knocked out before you let him loose. But yeah, man, he brings him down from his chains because he's kind of like hung up like this. He has a bag over his head, and he takes down Chase, and he fucking kills him. Shoots him twice in the chest. and he fucking dies, man. Chase dies. It's a very sad scene. You know, he's looking at Boyce. He's like, you're not gonna let me die, right? You're not gonna let me die. And he's like, no, 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 no. And it's like Ford's looking at him. He's like, fuck, dude. Like, this guy's dead. Like, you can see the bullet hole in his chest. It's just gushing. You're like, fuck. But yeah, man. So Chase ends up dying, and the serum that Boyce brought back, he looks at it and he knows what it's for, because there's one part of that sequence with him sneaking around the lab or whatever, where he sees the doctor plug a dude with that same serum, and he brings him back. So he's like, okay, maybe there's a chance that I could do this. Personally, I think that was a stupid move, but, you know, when you're seeing red and your buddy's dead and you want to bring him back, I guess. But anyways, again, that's me nitpicking. I'm doing the whole, like, well, if I were in this situation, I would have done this. You don't know what you'd fucking do. Shut up. So, like I said, I am guilty of that too at some points, but this one was kind of a stretch for me. But anyway, so he plugs him, and he fucking, at first nothing happens, and he's like, he's fucking dead, dude. And he's like, yeah, you're right, and he's sad, and all of a sudden Chase just and sits up, and he's like acting all weird. He's like, I'm thirsty. And then like they give him this fucking tin, and he's just like chugging the fuck out of it. Way more than I just did there. But so he's chugging water, he's like looking around, he's all fucking freaking out, and he's gained super strength because that tin that they gave him with the water, he just crushes it. And then he's like, can you stand up? And he's like, yeah. And he fucking like gets up, and he ends up becoming way more fucked up pretty quickly. Like his veins start bubbling and shit, and his neck just bends back, and oh fuck. So Boyce ends up having to kill him. Complete 180, man. He was sad about his buddy dying, and then when he sees what he's become, he's throwing around the soldiers and fucking, he's like, okay, yeah, fuck this, you need to die. And he just fucking crushes his head. Crazy shit there, man. But yeah, so after that, I'm bleeping pretty quick. This is not a good rendition of the story. Please go watch it. The Nazis, after what's his fucking face escapes, after that they kidnap Chloe's little brother, who's like a kid. He's probably 9 or 10, so he's a fucking little kid, man. And so they just take him, I think, the fucking bastards they are. And while as they're escaping, Ford ends up catching Waffner in the face with a fucking bullet. And so when they get back to the lab, he takes 2 of these serum syringes, whatever, fucking sticks them in his leg, and then he can take his hand off his face. Excuse me. Takes his hand off his face, and his, like, this whole part of his face is just shredded, dude. Looks fucking wicked. And then we get Mecha Waffner, Waffner, whatever his fucking name is. We get Uber Waffner, whatever you want to call him. And he's a bad motherfucker, dude. What a cool looking villain. He is a piece of shit, but man, that was like one of my favorite scenes, is when he just takes his hand off and you see that shredded fucking face. Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, man, so they end up devising a plan to rescue her brother and also take down the Nazi super weapon. And before that, there's a little conflict, which I enjoyed. Ford's very cold, very to the point, very get the mission done and get the fuck out of here. And Ford is cold, and then Boyce is like, no, man, we need to save this fucking kid. And Ford's a superior to him. He's like, I'm giving you a fucking order, dude. We're doing the mission and we're leaving. And he goes, no. Which I don't know how, I don't know how great that would go over in the military in real life. But Ford's just like, okay. They go rescue the kid. But no, it was a cool little sequence of him just being like, sticking to his guns and being like, no, we're saving this kid. I don't give a fuck. We're saving him. And, you know, obviously Chloe appreciates that. And so they go and get some cool action here, man. The plot of them getting into the compound is great, where they take one of the German soldiers, which I was really satisfied that there was this one guy, because he's like he's a total throwaway character. Like, I don't even think he has a name, but like, he just has that face, you know, that fucking, that like bitch face where you're just like, I really want to hit you. And so they end up strapping him to a motorcycle, and he goes riding into the gates of this Nazi compound lab thingy. And they're all looking around, and they fucking take the tape off of his mouth, and there's a grenade pin that's in his mouth. And you just see, I was like, okay, is this going to be an explosion? No, his fucking head just, and then the whole fucking thing goes up in flames and blows up, and I'm like, that was fucking awesome. That was so fucking cool, dude. But yeah, man, that was pretty rad. Then so yeah, they go in there, and at one point, you know, it ends in a pretty cool final battle between Ford and Waffner, and Boyce is also in a pretty indirect involved, not indirect, but he's also there. He's just kind of helping out. But at first, man, with these serums in him, Waffner's fucking unstoppable. I mean, his, you know, half of his face is gone, and he's fucking walking around. So yeah, he's gonna be a little powerful. So he ends up in a pretty cool little nod to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't think it was intended to be that, but I definitely, you know, that is, anytime you see someone get propped up on a fucking meat hook, you're immediately gonna think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which, funny enough, I didn't even intend this, but that's what I'm wearing right now. Little Texas Chainsaw shirt there, baby. But yeah, man, so when we get it here in the form of Waffner taking Ford and actually sticking him on it through the chest, which is unique. You always see people get on the back, but no, he fucking sticks him right there, and I'm like, oh god, it's like, you can see it goes right under his sternum, and you're like, oh my god, fuck. And then he gets his licks in from earlier. He takes his brass knuckled knife thing and just starts beating the fuck out of Ford. And then eventually we're able to get Boyce, who rolls a what the fuck do you call it? At one point, Boyce is able to shoot a we'll call it a propane tank, because I don't know what to fucking call it. Gas tank, whatever. Blows it up. Fucking sends Waffner flying. I might be getting the sequence out of order here. Anyways, at one point, Ford gets off of the meat hook and is able to inject himself with the serum, and then him and Waffner have this fucking big old superhero fight, which is really cool. And then that's when Boyce ends up blowing both of them to shit. Really, though, Waffner, because Waffner's right under it, and he shoots this gas tank, and he just goes flying into this hole. And Ford also gets a little fucked up, but he has that serum in him, so he's like, you know, he's fine from it. But he is dying, and you get to see him, like, his eyes start to bleed, and he ends up shoving Boyce out of the on the other side of the gate to get out, and he's like, you need to get the fuck out of here, man. And he's like, once I put that shit into me, I did not have any intentions of living through this, so you need to fucking leave. And yeah, he does, man. And then Ford ends up blowing up himself. He blows up Waffner, who is coming back, and he's even more fucked up than before. He's all charred and shit from the explosion. And all these other zombies that just happen to kind of stroll in, like, hey guys, what's going on? So they get fucked up too. But yeah, man, that whole fucking place ends up coming down, and we get a nice little cool happy ending. Which, by the way, props to Wyatt Russell, who is actually Kurt Russell's son, which I did not know my first time watching it, and then when I learned it, I'm like, oh my god, why didn't I not like put that together. He looks just like his dad. It's fucking crazy, actually. And he's a damn good actor too, man. I think Ford's probably my favorite character in this movie. So props to fucking Wyatt Russell, and Jovan as well. He did an amazing job. Really, I didn't really even talk about the performances. I think everyone does a really good job in this. I think everyone is solid as hell as far as performances and all of that. But yeah, man. So we get a cool little happy ending. The kid's rescued. He's playing cards with one of the soldiers, which I really didn't talk about because, like I said, beyond those three main characters, the characters are fun, but they're not. They're there, and like it's all love, man. I think everyone does a great job, like I said, but that's a writing thing. That's not really their fault. But yeah, guys, that'll do it, man. Overlord is an absolutely fantastic movie. No doubt about it. I fucking really, really, really enjoy this one. Absolutely go out of the way to check it out if you haven't. I hope you have seen it if you're this far into the review. But anyways, man, that'll do it for the review portion of this review. I need to get that line down. I'm still kind of fucking around with it. But anyways, that'll do it for the review portion of this video. But you know what's coming. We gotta get into the blood, the guts, and the gory bits. We gotta get into my kill of the film. Stick around. As I've stated before, Overlord does a very good job at balancing the war genre and the horror genre. And those two genres are known for plenty of things, both good and bad, but mostly good. However, one thing that they are known for, which in my opinion is a very, very good thing, is the fucking brutality. Holy shit, Overlord does its job in that department, no doubt about it. We get some awesome, awesome kills. First of all, just an honorable mention to just the war violence in this movie. Anytime you see someone shot, anytime you see someone get shot, their fucking face is exploding, or their guts are fucking, getting blown out the back of them and all this crazy shit. Really good stuff. Like I said, that plane sequence when the bullets are flying through the bottom of the plane, people are getting mowed the fuck down. The sergeant at the beginning of the movie, when those Nazis catch him, and he's like being Billy Badass, he's like, any of y'all got a cigarette? And they just fucking waste him, dude. Awesome shit there. Just all the war violence in this is it's there, and it's very, very heavy and very, very gory, and I love it. Obviously, I don't endorse, I'm not a big fan of war and all that shit, but it's a movie. You gotta take the entertainment out of it. But anyways, people are gonna think I'm like pro-war or something. No. But anyways, and as far as the horror element, man, we get some awesome shit. Obviously, I talked about it earlier. I was debating a lot about my kill of the film. Like a lot. Like I was like, oh, it's between two of them. And if you guys have seen the movie and just heard me talk about it, you know what I'm gonna say here. To me, I will give the honorable mentions. First of all, to Waffner. I think his kill is very drawn out, but I do think it's a cool kill. Just him, his face getting shredded, putting that shit in him, then he gets blown up and fucking blown up again. He gets fucked up in this movie, and rightfully so. He's a dickhead. But the other honorable mention will go to the grenade kill. As cool as it is, and it's fucking just brutal. I love it. Just anytime you get a head explosion, it's heads up for me. Thumbs up, I should say. Heads up as well. Heads all over the place. Oh, I'm an idiot. But anyways, just awesome, man. Just really, really cool shit. Just that whole the whole scene of them pulling out the pin, and he's like fucking wiggling around like roar. And they're like, run in German, or retreat, or whatever the fuck they say. And his head just good shit, man. I've talked about this head explosion way too much, but I love it. And then we also get a really cool explosion after that. I was really, really tempted to give that KOF, man. I was really, really tempted to give that kill of the film, but I'm gonna have to give it to Chase, man. Just the complete tonal shift from it being so sad with him getting shot in the chest off of not a fluke, but just a dumb decision on his part, to, him getting stuck with the serum. He comes back to life for like 5 minutes, if that, and he's like fucking people up, and you get that awesome I don't know if it's practical fully, but like, could have fooled me, man, when he bends his head back and you just see his bones sticking out of his fucking torso. It's like, oh god, and then he brings himself back and his neck's all fucked up, and all that's brutal. And then we get an amazing head crush here with Boyce taking him down, and just starts fucking just boom, 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 and they have to take him off of this poor zombie, basically, because he's a zombie at that point. But then you just see it, and his head's fucking just caved in, dude. It is brutal as hell. That's gonna be my kill of the film, man. But anyways, guys, like I said, Overlord is absolutely fantastic. Ooh, acid, 1 second. We're uncut, baby. Suck it. But anyways, Overlord is fucking awesome, guys. Please, please, please go out, buy it, rent it, watch it on whatever streaming thing it's on. Go watch Overlord. It's fucking awesome. And next time on Corona Mania Part 3, next time on Days of Darkness, we're going to be talking about motherfucking Zombieland. You want to talk about blending two genres so well. With this one, it was war and horror. And the next time, it's going to be comedy and horror. And probably one of the most unique films I've reviewed on Days of Darkness up until this point. We'll get into some weird shit, don't you worry. But for Corona Mania Part 3, we're going to get into Zombieland, and I can't fucking wait, guys. I love that movie. Haven't seen it in a very long time. And yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining me as always. I appreciate the support. I love you all. Take care of each other. Stay safe out there. And keep watching horror. All right, guys. Have a good day.